I'm Angela Ruth from the Tampa Downtown Partnership, and you're watching Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hello and welcome to Culture Vultures. I'm Linda Saul-Sena and I'm so glad you can be with us today. My guest is Angela Ruth. She's the Director of Marketplace for the Tampa Downtown Partnership, and she will share what's going on in our community. So welcome, Angela.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here.
Well, we are pleased you're here. So there are so many things to talk about. Why don't we start by going on an imaginary walk through downtown Tampa?
I would love to take you there. I would love to take you there.
And why don't we start from the Kennedy and Ashley Bridge, the intersection there with the round building.
Okay. Well, before you go over the bridge, one of my favorite places is the Plant Museum. And the Plant Museum takes you back to the Victorian era. It is the last of what was the Tampa Bay Hotel from many years ago. And the Plant Museum has not only hotel rooms and so that you could see how people lived and stayed on vacation, but they also have a lot of programming that is very interesting. So on Sundays, they have Victorian players that come out and reenact the actual people that worked and visited the hotel and tell their stories. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to spend an afternoon. But you can also go on the first Friday of the month for their First Fridays, where they have jazz music. It really lights up the porch there.
Really, in the afternoon?
Yes. It starts in the late afternoon and goes into the evening.
So the first Friday?
First Friday.
Is there a charge for that?
No, there is not.
That's
No,
great.
there is not. The whole idea is to get people to come in, to see what the museum is all about, to get excited about it, and to enjoy some jazz music and get with friends in the community and enjoy the riverfront and that beautiful, beautiful place.
What a great start to our tour.
Yes, it is.
Then after we cross the bridge, what do we do?
Well, you would cross the bridge, and of course the bridge has wonderful history to it. As you approach Ashley, you will come upon the Rivergate building. And it is a round building with a cube, and very architecturally important to downtown. In that cube is the Florida Museum of Photographic Arts. And the Florida Museum of Photography, we're so glad that they're in that cube. They had a few other homes around downtown and in South Tampa. They have a wonderful programming, but they bring very important photography that tells modern stories about life in America, life in Europe, life in Asia, Africa, throughout the world. And they also have a First Friday program, and they invite the public to come in. They have docent tours on Sundays as well. So if you really want an in-depth education about the importance of these, why this picture is important, you can go on a docent tour. They are on the second and third floor of the cube. So that it's a real gem of a museum. It has come a long way. It has a changing exhibition. Well, no, actually, this is right now pictures of the reef, of the coral reef, and they have partnered with the Florida Aquarium, which we will talk about a little bit later because that is full of its own water culture. So they have engaged in these partnerships. They are very good at partnering with the community. And a little bit later, after we take our tour, I want to talk to you about this collaboration of our cultural outlets into a monthly event that people will really want to hear about. Yes. Yes.
Well, I have to say, as a sucker for beauty, the architecture of the Cube and Rivergate Tower are I think, the most stunning buildings in our entire community.
Yes.
I just think they're fantastic.
They are. You walk into that building and you know you're in an important piece of architecture. It has a wonderful feel to it. So.
And eventually I am going to work on getting some trees back in Kylie Garden, but that's another conversation.
That's another conversation, but that would be very lovely. Yes, yes. So now you can exit from the Florida Museum of Photographic Arts, which is called FMOPA by those of us who know and love it every day. And you can get right onto the Riverwalk. And it will take you and lead you right into the Tampa Museum of Art. And the Tampa Museum of Art is not only our beautiful art museum and a beautiful piece of architecture in downtown Tampa, with some very, very interesting traveling exhibitions that come in. It has an important antiquities permanent exhibit as well. I love the fact that on Saturday mornings they have Art Spot, where parents can bring their children from 11 to 2 free to enjoy the museum and to create some art.
That is really special.
Yes.
And that's open to the public.
And that is open to the public,
And
absolutely, and free. And what else is free is Friday nights when it's Art on the House. And it's sponsored by GTE. And you, if you want to make a donation, you can make a donation. If you can't make a donation, you can go in and enjoy the museum, and it is free on Friday nights.
Fantastic.
And what's really nice about that is Sono Restaurant stays open late on that night so that you can go enjoy the museum and have a lovely dinner right on the Riverwalk.
Great.
Yes. As you come through the park, you never know what's going on at Curtis Hickson Park. It is the venue for many arts programs, a lot of music. Rock the Park, first Thursday of the month, starts at 7 o'clock. Local bands, we're not talking tribute bands, we're talking about original indie music.
That's great.
It is great, and people have, it has grown from a few people coming out to hear the music to a real following.
I'm learning I thought I knew what was going on, and I'm learning all kinds of new things.
Yes.
This is very exciting.
Well, Rock the Park is, and this is where you'll see people sitting out with their blankets and listening to the music and enjoying downtown, is, as I said, the first Thursday of the month. If you've got kids, we have a wonderful, wonderful children's museum downtown. And unfortunately, my children grew up too fast and couldn't enjoy it. I used to have to take them to other cities to go to Children's Museum, but this one is really a world-class, wonderful experience. They not only have changing exhibitions for the children, but they have a lot of favorite things that kids like to do. So they could be physical in there and climb about. They could have role-playing. And they also have a special program for autistic children.
You're kidding.
Yeah, where they dim the lights. There's not a lot of sound. It's very peaceful. They're really, really sensitive to special needs kids. And it's just a wonderful place for children. One of the things that I love is when you go into the Poe Garage, there's always some child sobbing inconsolably because he had to leave the Children's Museum.
That's true.
Anyway, so that is, and they do a lot of arts programs and music programs for kids, literature. It's very, very rich in really getting kids indoctrinated into the cultural world of their hometown and developing pride in where they come from. And that's a great thing that culture does for a city.
It's so exciting that we have these choices, which were not here when my children were young either, and now it's exciting.
It is exciting. It is. It definitely is. As you're coming out of the Children's Museum, you think, well, we're going to have to go all the way back on the Riverwalk, and yes, there is far more there, and I will tell you about that. But what I really, really am impressed with around downtown is the art, the visual art that we're seeing. We're seeing murals on the outside of buildings. We're also seeing really important art that is in our retail spaces. So if you go into the Doxa Design Lab, that's run by Jamie Rogers.
Is Doxa across Ashley from the Children's Museum?
Yes, it is. It's in Sky Point. It is right on the side of Anise Global Gastrobar. She is really showcasing a lot of art for sale, but it's just a lovely place to walk through because she curates vintage modern, if you will. So there's some beautiful things for the home, but the artwork is really stand out. And it's something that I'm very proud to have in our downtown.
And you said that there's work there by Theo Wujcik, one of our best-known local artists.
Yes. And you can't miss it.
Great.
So go by there and see that. So when I talk about being in retail, we're seeing art pop up in wonderful places. Spain Restaurant on Tampa Street has a lovely collection of beautiful art that is for sale, but it also is decor for the restaurant. Bamboozle, the Bamboozle Cafe, as well as the Bamboozle Tea Lounge in the Channel District, also has beautiful art and is now exhibiting various artists and doing shows. So it's not just the food, but it's the whole experience.
We're becoming urbane. It's very exciting.
I like to think that. Yes, yes, yes. So when you're walking down the street and you walk into one of these restaurants, you're going to get more than just a meal. You're going to get that art experience.
That really is enriching, and that's, I think, one of the things that drives people downtown is to have a more interesting experience.
One of the places that I love to go to at night is the Franklin. The Franklin, many people may know it as the Urban Juice place.
Okay.
Okay, it's next to where Beverly's Hallmark used to be. It is the oldest building in Tampa, and it was renovated by two lawyers who actually have their offices up on the third floor. The first floor is a juice place during the day, and in the evening it turns into a craft beer, ale place, and there's live music. And this is one of the things that I notice, having been in Tampa all these years, that we're seeing more and more of. When you walk down the street at night, you're hearing a lot of lovely sound.
Oh, that makes such a difference. It makes it so much more fun.
It does, and it draws people in, and it enriches the experience. So it's not just a bar. You're seeing an opportunity for local artists and musicians to have a venue in downtown Tampa.
I really love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, as I was saying before, you know, you're walking around, you're seeing more of these restaurants adapt to the arts and showcase the arts and give that added experience. When La Donne, our French restaurant, had her grand opening, she had French singing. She's talking about giving French lessons in her restaurant.
I love that.
And really, really giving more of the experience. So, yeah, so we're seeing more and more of this along in the core. So as we're coming around from Ashley and we're now on Franklin and Tampa streets, we're seeing more and more restaurants open up that really give a rich experience. And as you head even further north, you're going to get back onto the Riverwalk. And one of the places that was in the news recently, because it just sold, is the Aloft Hotel. Okay, it's a hotel. But they have the WXYZ Lounge, which is out in the back, overlooking the Riverwalk. They have an infinity pool too, so you could pull up a chair there, and they have live music on the weekends.
You're kidding?
Yes, they do.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, they do. And I think that's one of the most beautiful spots to sit and listen to sound in Tampa. You're right by the water. You could look over UT, and you're seeing, you know, you're seeing and you're hearing and you're tasting, and it's all just, it's a great experience.
My visitors will really benefit from this because I had no idea of all these additional venues.
Oh yes, yes, yes. So as you go along on the Riverwalk, and you know, we look out our window at the Rivergate and we see people walking that Riverwalk all day long, which is wonderful. I think they're walking because they just enjoy the whole exercise of walking on the water.
It's
and
beautiful.
The newness of it all. But they may be going from museum to museum and hopping around from restaurant to bar and
you know
having
what
all
else?
that experience.
There's sculptures along there.
Yes, there are. That tell the story of our region.
And they're well done.
They're beautifully done. They are beautifully done. And yes, they tell not only of important, significant individuals whose lives really changed the course of things here in Tampa, a lot of civil rights leaders, as well as the Indian mounds really tell of our origins. So if you're walking past and you're looking at these things, you need just to stop at the History Museum.
Yes.
And what I love about the History Museum is how interactive it is. And how it does tell the story of our region. When you go into the first floor, it really pays homage to the American Indian, and talks about their struggle, and as Florida became what it is, and it's all done in a theater style, with robotic figures that look real. So you really have that life experience, but the whole first floor is dedicated when you walk in to the American Indian. And this really interests our foreign visitors because when you're in America, you want the American story. So a lot of people that come in, particularly from the Ada Vita cruise ship, which is coming from Germany. Yes, we have museums. They have museums in Germany as well. But if you want to hear the story of the American Indian, that's a great place to go. It's a great place for children as well. And anyone that has been there knows that it's wonderful. You can walk through the cigar factory and, you know, it really pops into the modern. And when you go upstairs, it really talks about the agriculture of our region, a lot of interactive about just about the topography and a lot of the horses, the cattle. What people don't realize is that, you know, agriculture is a big industry in Florida. We're not just about tourism.
One of the funniest things I ever heard is that the way that the Florida Chamber of Commerce got organized, the first statewide organization was to dip cattle for ticks. And they organized the Florida Cattle Dipping Organization, and it was such a success that the next year it morphed into the Chamber of Commerce. That just always makes me crack up.
And those are our roots. Those are our roots. It wasn't the beachfront hotels.
Right, right.
Yeah, and that's why that museum is very important, but they have a lot of programs for children, particularly around the holidays, too. They do a lot of really fun things in the spring. They do a summer camp in the summertime, and they have a lot of enrichment for our kids as well. And also, if your daughter has an American Girl doll, they have a program just for American Girl dolls.
Are you serious?
At the History Museum, which is really a great thing, you know, for young ladies to remember growing up at the History Museum. So yeah, and downstairs of the museum has the Columbia Restaurant, and they have live music on the weekends. So think of this: you're walking down the Riverwalk, and there's music. All, you know, you just keep hearing different bands, different DJs. It's a wonderful experience. But yes, the Columbia has beautiful Spanish and flamenco music. We have flamenco music in downtown Tampa. Not only do we have it there, but taking you back for a moment to Spain Restaurant on Tampa Street, they have flamenco guitar music every weekend, and the last weekend of the month, they have flamenco dancers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
People go just for that. It's wonderful. The food is great, but they love the music and the dancing.
Now, let's move north on Franklin Street.
Ah, yes.
So,
okay.
First of all,
yes,
my beloved Tampa Theater.
Your beloved Tampa Theater. I'm sure you've gone on the tour of the Tampa Theater.
Tell us about it.
All right. Well, the tour of the Tampa Theater really talks about the building, the construction of the theater, and its ghost.
Ah, yes.
Yes. Who had been a film operator. He handled the reels of film and changed.
He was the projectionist.
Yes, he was the projectionist, and so people can still smell his lavender cologne when they walk there. But it talks about the movies that had played there, and you know, for a long time that was a whites-only theater. African Americans did not have access to that theater. So really, it's also a civil rights story as well.
I've seen photographs of it being picketed.
Yes.
And fortunately now it is owned by the city, open to all.
Yes, absolutely. And wonderful movies. Wonderful movies. People know of their classic series, which, you know, it's great to see these old movies on the big screen. But they play they really bring us a lot of good quality from Cannes Film Festival, from Telluride. They really showcase the important work of the film industry in the United States. And so oftentimes you'll see movies that we've heard about, that we hear about, that we read about, but you can't see them anywhere else but at the Tampa Theater.
And they have fabulous popcorn. We just have to throw that in.
And they have great popcorn. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you can get a glass of wine there, too.
Absolutely.
So Tampa Theater also has concerts and comedy acts. David Sedaris has been there. We've seen all
Lily
kinds of...
Tomlin, I know.
Oh, I know. Wasn't she great?
She's hysterical.
She is hysterical. Right in our downtown. So, yeah.
So the Rialto Theater up the street, what is that? What is that doing these days?
The Rialto Theater has been rescued. The Rialto Theater has been rescued. And you know, anybody who's driven down that street probably paid it no mind, because for years and years, no one did.
So it's on
It was all
Franklin
boarded
Street,
up.
but north of the interstate.
It is north of the interstate. It's in what they call the Heights,
Yes.
right outside of downtown, but they are doing a lot of important arts work there. There is dancing. There is music lessons. They are having art fairs. They're having indie fleas.
Really?
Yes. They have really revitalized that theater and it helps the whole block.
Well, that whole area in northern downtown, or as you said,
Yes.
Tampa Heights, is coming to life again.
Oh, yes.
And the park, Waterworks Park next to Eulalie,
Yes.
has programming.
It does have programming, and what a fabulous place for it. What a fabulous place for it. That all worked, the synergy of all of that is just so lovely. When you come across, and now you are seeing what's happening on Franklin Street in the Hidden Springs.
Oh, and that
The
reminds
craft
me
fair.
of, speaking of hidden, Stageworks in the Channel District.
Talk about important dramatic work being done in Tampa. Wonderful, wonderful theater. So it's in Grand Central.
Yes.
It is in Grand Central. And to park, you could park for free for 2 hours in the Grand Central garage. Because people say, where can I park these days? There's so much construction. You could just pull right in, park there. The theater is wonderful, wonderful plays. In the Blood is playing in January, which is a modern Scarlet Letter.
Ooh.
And they're doing Broadway Bound. They're doing Inherit the Wind.
Great,
Yes,
great.
yes. Really important works. What I love about that theater is there's 99 seats.
It's an
Small and
intimate
it's intimate.
size.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And of course the Straz, where Broadway is played all year round. But it has a lot going for it. It's the largest performing arts center in the Southeast. And you have the Jabe Theater. You have beautiful concerts. You have the Florida Orchestra. You have Opera Tampa. The Straz has it all. It's just a great place and great theater for children too.
What else is going on in the Channel District?
So much. They have art walks in the Channel District. They have art walks that brings that whole community of residents and businesses together, visitors from other neighborhoods, and those are very successful. There's live music there as well. You will find live music right in the Grand Central Court on Sunday afternoons, but there's also live music at Maloney's. It's a wonderful Irish pub, but he's bringing in local musicians and giving them a great stage as well. The Bamboozle Tea Lounge there does an open mic.
When?
I don't know if you're ready for this, but open mic on Friday nights.
And as we move over to the Amelia Arena.
Yes, the Amelia Arena. That's the big names. Those are the big names, our big concerts. A wonderful venue. That arena brings in big names into Tampa. It's a huge economic engine for the city, but it's also quality of life because we get to see great concerts.
But I think you said the secret is to arrive early.
Arrive early. You plan for a little extra time. And most people that are going to see the big concerts, the Billy Joel, the Elton John, they plan carefully. So you could park, you could have dinner at one of our wonderful restaurants downtown and head over to the arena. You could eat there. There's a lot of options as well.
Hopefully someday we'll have transit and be able to use that as a way to get in.
I have my fingers crossed.
And then the aquarium.
The aquarium has fish.
Not
Right?
very cultural.
There are fish. No. And people say, oh, they're not. But they do. They really are doing an outstanding job with culture. First of all, just for people with children to know, they also do special programming for children with autism. So we really have some very sensitive, wonderful projects in our downtown for children. But the museum does a lot with conservation. And with conservation comes a lot of culture. So you could go into their gift shop and buy artwork that was produced by beavers, by their paws.
What?
That were dipped in paint.
Oh, that's crazy.
Just really amazing, or salt rock. They really have wonderful things, but they have the dolphin cruise, which not only talks about the ocean life, but just talks about the whole region and how water has really made up a lot of our culture. We are a port city. And we see that in the importance of our river walk, but we also see it in just the commerce and the culture that has grown around it.
What a whirlwind. First of all, I cannot get over the number of places you've mentioned that have live music, particularly on the weekends. That is so exciting to hear.
Yes.
And special programs for kids,
Yes.
and open mics. I'm not that brave, but hey, it's good to know that it's here. And you said that there's going to be something coming up, perhaps?
Yes, the collaboration of a lot of these museums and cultural centers and restaurants. There's a plan in the works to do something once a month. It doesn't have a name. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's going to be a real celebration of everything in downtown, especially culture and arts, once a month.
So I guess the punchline is stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Thank you, Angela, so much for your overview of what's going on culturally in our downtown and in other ways. And thank you all so much for watching Culture Vultures. Tune in next time. Bye-bye.